What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Scoop, a proud New York Mets fan, a proud Dallas Cowboys fan. And every single day, I live and work deep behind enemy lines, right here in Philadelphia sports country. And today, we got some interesting conversations. First, the Eagles and Jalen Carter continue contract negotiations. And according to reports, the Eagles have all the leverage. But is that actually true? We'll discuss whether Philadelphia should lock him up immediately or make him prove it a little longer. Then, a topic that Eagle fans are arguing about all over social media. Carson Wentz received support from the Eagles organization when things weren't going well. So why do some fans feel Jalen Hurts doesn't get that same treatment? Is Hurts being held to a different standard? Then we'll get into what might be the most controversial topic of today's show. A.J. Brown recently claimed he's the greatest wide receiver in Eagles history. The NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe wasted absolutely no time shutting that down. And finally, we'll switch over to the Phillies because Bryce Harper's transition to first base continues to be a talking point. Don Mattingly says Harper has been okay, but there's still some room for improvement. We'll discuss whether Bryce Harper can become an elite first baseman or if the Phillies are simply trying to make the best out of a difficult situation. So buckle up, whether you're an Eagle fan, a Phillies fan, a Cowboys fan, a Mets fan, or just someone who loves hearing both sides of a sports debate. You're in the right place. I'm Scoop. This is Behind Enemy Lines Sports Talk Show, and let's get into it.
Check the weather and it's getting real. I'll be outside.
All right, let's stop wasting time and jump right into our first topic because if you're an Eagles fan, this is probably the biggest long-term storyline facing the franchise right now. Jalen Carter, one of the most dominant young defensive players in football. And according to Bill, the Eagles have all the leverage in these contract negotiations.
What I'm being told is the Eagles are still confident that they're going to get this extension done. However, if they don't get it done, there's no reason to be concerned if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Carter is still on his fourth year of his rookie deal. They still have the fifth-year option, and then they could franchise tag. I mean, you got 3 years of control on Jalen Carter. So even if they don't get the contract done, which I do expect them to do, he doesn't have any power in training camp because play this out. Jalen Carter comes into training camp in the fourth year of his deal where the team would still technically have 3 years of control and doesn't come in shape, doesn't participate in camp, has a bad season. You think he's getting a bigger contract next year?
No.
The Eagles have complete power in this negotiation.
Now, I'm going to flat out say this. Eagles, organization, franchise, fans, all y'all. Y'all keep playing if y'all want. You see what happened to us and Micah Parsons. Y'all keep thinking y'all got all this leverage and that everything's going to be fine. Trust me, my organization, my fan base has been down this road before. And we actually benefited from it, all the picks we got and the players we have, and I feel like we'll be a better defense. But Micah Parsons is truly missed. We have no pressure on the quarterback like we used to. Third down, when it was third and long, Christmas, we was on the quarterbacks behind. Now, quarterbacks got all the time in the world. If you guys want to play around with Jalen Carter, I'm telling you, it's going to be sad. Because I'm sitting here looking at Jalen Carter's stats and awards and highlights. You don't want to let this man go. He's been in the league for 3 years. He's been All-Pro once, second team in 2024. He's been to the Pro Bowl twice, and he made the All-Rookie team in 2023. I further look into it because I'm like, why are y'all even playing with this man? Jalen Carter? First of all, he should never fell to y'all in the NFL draft. Y'all got lucky, and he's been nothing but dominant. And now y'all don't want to pay that man his money? Because I read something that said y'all want to give him the George Pickens treatment, want to see him mature for a year before giving him all that bread. Man, forget all that. Y'all going to keep messing around. Y'all going to miss on something very, very nice. Because as I look at my screen, it says Jalen Carter is amongst the NFL's top defensive tackles. 6'3", 314. They said in ESPN's 2025 NFL Interior Defensive Line Survey, Carter was ranked 3 behind Dexter Lawrence and Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs. You telling me you got the number 3 interior defensive lineman, and you don't want to pay him money because you think he immature? If you think he immature now, you had to think he was immature when you drafted him. That didn't stop you. So get that man his money. Matter of fact, don't pay him. Do me a favor as a Dallas Cowboy fan and don't pay him. And like I already said, he's been named the number 3 interior defensive lineman. For him to be number 3 out of the whole NFL, when you got guys like Jeffrey Simmons on the Titans, Quinnen Williams of my Cowboys, and we already mentioned Dexter Lawrence and Chris Jones, and they're saying he's number 3, and you playing around? All right. I'm telling y'all going to mess around and find out, because we did it. But Eagle fans, y'all better stop, man. Listen, man, I'm telling you, I hope y'all don't sign him. I hope he walks. Because y'all think y'all got all this control. Y'all saying that, well, we got him this year, and then we got him next year, and then we can franchise tag him, and he going to want his money, so he's not going to have a down year. You tripping. Look at the NBA and James Harden. When that man want his money, he comes to the games looking like 300 pounds. Because the whole world knows he's a baller. The whole world knows what situation he's going through. The whole world knows he's doing this on purpose because he wants to leave. He can have a bad season or two, and guess what? The next team is going to pay him a lot of money. So y'all keep thinking about this leverage and playing games. Y'all interior defense is going to be trash because without Jalen Carter, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. Now, speaking of Eagle players and how they're treated by the organization, this next topic is one that caught my attention because whenever Carson Wentz's name comes up in Philadelphia, this tends to get interesting. Recently, John Kincaid discussed how Carson Wentz received support from the Eagles organization, which raises the question some fans are asking, why doesn't Jalen Hurts seem to get that same support?
I got to ask you point blank, when you talk about Jalen's frustration with the team, when you say team, do you think the frustration is front office, Lori, Howie, or do you think teammates comes into that?
Talking to the people getting close to Jalen, the impression was the team, not so much the players or anything else like that. And also, the gist of the story was the fact that this is a city that has a propensity of throwing out its superstars. I mean, this is a city that threw out one of its all-time greatest players in basketball history, Wilt Chamberlain, and one of the greatest players that ever played in the NBA, and Charles Barkley. This is a team that does not cuddle its superstars very, very well, and I believe, and I think you guys believe too, that Jalen Hurts is a superstar. Just treat him better than you have. Talking to people that are close to him, the impression is this was aimed more so at the team. And when I brought up with one individual that I spoke to in reference to the story, I wish they would have came out. I wish they would have said something, this, and this. And I brought up to them, hey, listen, I was here at ground zero. I was the guy that wrote it. When the thing came out on Wentz, and you guys all remember this, within an hour of that story going public, within an hour, you had major Pro Bowl players, and they were all down at the Pro Bowl, and at the assistance of Eagles media, hey, listen, guys, you got to come out and defend your guy here, Carson Wentz. There was nothing like that in reference to Jalen Hurts.
And I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm not rooting for any Eagle player, any Eagles players. You can be family. If you got to wear Eagles jersey, I see you when you retire. Because I was once a Jalen Hurts fan. When he was at Alabama, I knew about him at Alabama. When he was fresh out of high school, he enrolled early, and he was playing on a scout team. And the scout team had him playing as DeSean Watson. Then that next year, he started as a freshman. And he balled out. Then he got spot talking about Tua, but he kept his chin up. And he transferred to Oklahoma, and he did his thing again. I know everything about Jalen Hurts. But once he got drafted by the Eagles, I remember that night, I said, dang, I can't root for him no more. Even in the NFL, he has his ups and downs. He went to the Super Bowl, 2 times? He got one. He's a winner. I'm not going to say he's out here, he's the best quarterback because the Eagles' offensive passing, you had A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Y'all should be top 10 every year in passing yards, and y'all not. I'm just calling a spade. But the guy's a winner. He has done way more than what Carson Wentz has done. Way more. Jalen Hurts, obviously a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, All-Pro second team in 2022, 3-time Pro Bowl. What are we talking about? Then we look at Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, he's a Super Bowl champion, but really that's Nick Foles. Let's be honest. He was on the squad. That was his squad. He brought him there, but he ain't won the game. But he's a Super Bowl champion for sure. Second team All-Pro that year. Went to the Pro Bowl that year, but that's it. I truly don't understand why y'all stand behind Carson Wentz more than y'all do Hurts. And the fact that y'all give Carson Wentz way more respect, I don't get it. I don't get it. But, I don't know. Let Hurts walk if y'all want, because y'all already let A.J. Brown walk. That's strike 1. Strike 2 is going to be Jalen Carter. Strike 3, it's going to be Jalen Hurts, and you're out of there. But hey, y'all got y'all Super Bowl. Y'all been 2 in the last 3-4 years, whatever the case may be. Y'all cool. Because guess what? If it's the Dallas Cowboys, and we've been to the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years, and we won one of those, if CeeDee Lamb walks, if Dak Prescott walks, Michael Parsons already walked, I'm cool. I got a Super Bowl championship in my lifetime. I'm cool. So, I mean, y'all playing with house money. Do what you do. Now, if you thought that topic will get Eagle fans arguing, wait until we get to this next one, because this one might be the hottest take we discussed on this show so far. A.J. Brown recently made a statement that immediately got the attention of Shannon Sharpe. Let's just say Shannon Sharpe wasn't exactly impressed. A.J. Brown says he's the greatest wide receiver in Eagles history. Shannon Sharpe says not so fast.
AJ, before you even Ojo go, bro, I think you're phenomenal. You're not the best receiver to play there. You ain't seeing T.O. ever. Ever.
I mean, shoot, ain't nobody seeing T.O.
And I think
conversation.
AJ, don't take this the wrong way. I think you're phenomenal. T.O. is one of the 3 best receivers to ever play in the NFL. One of the 3 best. I ain't got him 1, but I ain't got him 3 either. I believe it at that. I think you're phenomenal. Yeah. And you did an outstanding job in your tenure there. Y'all went to 2 Super Bowls. Yes. You won 1. You were a 1,000-yard receiver. You went to the Pro Bowl. But T.O. was a different animal.
Listen, I get it. T.O. is T.O. Terrell Owens, that dog. He is definitely top 5 all time. He might be top 3. We already know those 2 slots is taken by Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. Then you got guys like Megatron, Larry Fitz. We ain't gonna disrespect Antonio Brown. There's some names out there in slots 3 to 5. But we all know Jerry Rice, Randy Moss 1, 2. T.O. could easily be number 3. But let's think what A.J. Brown said. A.J. Brown said he's the top Eagle receiver ever. Eagle receiver ever. And this, we ain't even going to go by recency bias. We're going to look at the stats. Because I think A.J. Brown made a great statement that stands true. If we look at the stats, when you play for the Eagles, he didn't say greatest receiver all the time. He said greatest in Eagles history. If we look at the stats, I'm looking at them right now. T.O. played for the Eagles 2 years. First year, he had 1,214 touchdowns. Respect. That second year, he only played 7 games. And he had 763 yards and 6 touchdowns. Respect. He had pretty much over 100 every game he played that year. Right? So he had 1,200 and 763. Those are in 20 touchdowns. Those are baller numbers. But and when you look at what A.J. Brown did for the Eagles, man, listen. First year, he pretty much had 1,500. Second year, we round that up. He had 1,500. Third year, he had 1,079. Last year was this down year. He had 1,003. So every year, he eclipsed 1K. His first 2 years came out on a mission, 15. Total touchdowns. He had 32 total touchdowns for the Eagles. So we're looking at, what's that? 4,000 plus another 5. That's 5,000, almost 5. He probably got more than 5,000 yards in his Eagle career. Whereas we said T.O. only had, a little less than 2. Come on, man. And we throw DeSean Jackson in there. We ain't going to talk about DeSean Jackson 2019, 2020. We're going to leave those out. But DeSean Jackson, his first 6 years in the league, he might be the second all-time Eagle receiver because he came out the gate 900, then he had 12, then he had 1,000, then he had 961, then he had 700. Then his last year, he had over 1,300, right? And touchdowns, he had 2, 9, 6, 4, 2, 9. To be honest with you, if we talking about Eagles history, T.O. might be number 3. Look at the stats. Don't get mad at me. All right, let's leave the Eagles world for a minute, because if there's one thing I've learned living behind enemy lines, Philadelphia doesn't just obsess over football. The Phillies are right there too. And today we're talking about the face of the franchise, Bryce Harper, and his transition to first base, because Don Mattingly recently shared some honest thoughts about Harper's defense.
Wondering what you thought of Bryce's work at first base this year.
I mean, it's been okay. I mean, I think it can get better. I think that's the thing with everybody. I think the main thing, I think we got him off the bag more as the season got started. That helped. And then just footwork around the bag, I think, is important for him to continue to work on.
Listen, I don't understand why y'all keep playing with Bryce Harper. I don't understand why y'all... In the beginning of the season, y'all talking about something. He's not elite no more. He cool at first base. He could definitely be better. Like, Bryce Harper's your franchise player. What are we talking about? What are we really talking about? I don't care what Bryce Harper does on the defense side of the ball. I don't care. You should never disrespect or say anything negative about Bryce Harper. Y'all went to the World Series that year because of Bryce Harper. If Bryce Harper wasn't on y'all squad, y'all wasn't making it. I don't care who was on that team. I don't care how he played in the playoffs. Bryce Harper is Bryce Harper. I don't understand why y'all playing with that man's name like he's not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't understand. And if y'all don't like his defense, you should never move him in the first place. But y'all did because he couldn't throw anymore because he got hurt, I think. I don't care. He's the best. Move him to DH. You can. You got Kyle Schwarber. So what you going to do? Because guess what? If I got to choose between Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, I'm taking Bryce Harper. I don't care how many home runs Kyle Schwarber hits. Because look at the batting average. Kyle Schwarber is either home run or strikeout. Bryce Harper going to hit you a single, a double, triple, home run. He can do it all. And he ain't a scrub at first base. Y'all keep disrespecting these greats' names, man. Y'all tripping. All right, that's going to wrap up today's topics. We talked Jalen Carter's contract situation, whether Jalen Hurts gets treated differently than Carson Wentz, the A.J. Brown versus Eagles legends debate, and Bryce Harper's development at first base. Now is your turn. I want to hear from Eagle fans. I want to hear from Phillies fans. I definitely want to hear from all the rival fans out there living behind enemy lines just like me. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, and share the show because we're just getting started. I'm Scoop, a Mets fan, a Cowboy fan, living deep in Philadelphia sports territory. And this has been Behind Enemy Lines Sports Talk Show.